Hello, today I'm gonna talk about Baal, specifically about her teaser video. I've seen a lot of speculation, a lot of opinions, and a lot of theories about it, so I thought I might as well add my own before the big update became live, and hopefully give people a different perspective about Baal's actions and what we've seen from her. And although the first scenes are pretty clear to people, she lost her friends and worse and became lonely and depressed because of it, that's not the only reason she might have felt so broken and helpless. I will also talk about the mysterious scene where she reaches out for a person identical to herself, and who might that be? Spoilers ahead from a chapter of the Genshin manga and also from some of the voice lines from Zhongli about Baal and her past. So, to begin, the first people shown in the teaser to have disappeared from Baal's life are pretty easy to understand who they are, yet the last person, appearing to be Baal herself, isn't actually her. At least that's my theory, but I'm pretty sure it's correct. It's the previous Electro Archon. Honestly, to me it was clear from the beginning who she was, but for some reason many people thought it represented how Baal was afraid of losing herself. Yet to me, the figure radiated a completely different energy or aura. I don't know, it just felt different, maybe because I watched so many anime I'm used to distinguishing stuff like that. But anyway, it was kind of proven to me that it was the previous Electro Archon once I watched a video about what Zhongli's voice lines about Baal were. And he mentions how he knew her ever since she was just a young Kagemusha at the Archon's meetings. I was instantly curious and went to see what a Kagemusha was exactly, since the word already sounded familiar to me. The first results I saw were about a movie called Kagemusha, which was centered around that concept. Kagemusha is basically a body double for an important person, usually a politician. Someone to be present instead of the actual important person, so that they're not put in danger. And for that to be possible, the Kagemusha has to look pretty much exactly as the person they're taking the place of, which implies that the previous Electro Archon and Baal had the same appearance, which kinda makes it more clear that the person we see Baal reaching for in the teaser is the previous Electro Archon, whom Baal probably loved dearly. So it wasn't simply her friend's deaths that broke her, it was her fundamental concepts being shattered or challenged, it was her eternity proving to be non-existent or unattainable. If even the god of eternity herself, Baal's predecessor, wasn't eternal, what did eternity even mean? I'm sure for Baal it was the toughest blow to handle. And this also kinda goes in hand with the fact that there might be other people that look like Baal, also known as Scaramouche, which there are theories that he's a clone of Baal, but that's another topic. So it's the same way it would happen if contracts ceased to have meaning for Morax, or if freedom were to disappear for Barbatos. As we have already seen, the Archons' main concepts are the most important things for them, and it's what really makes them take action. Barbatos only appears when freedom in his nation is threatened. It's why he initiated the rebellion 2000 years ago in the first place during the Archon War. And as seen in the Genshin manga, he appeared before Vanessa when she and her people were slaves under the old Lawrence clan. Morax also basically goes berserk and forgets about any morals when it's a matter of broken contracts, as seen how mercilessly gives divine punishment to any who would not respect a contract, especially involving him. It's what even bound him to give out his noses and not tell the traveler anything about the cataclysm from 500 years ago. However, Baal's concept, in her mind at least, is the most fragile concept between those three. Her idea of eternity is stillness and lack of change. She wanted her happy times with her friends to never change, according to the eternity that was the core of her existence as an Archon. Yet that core concept of hers was constantly challenged in direct ways right in front of her, and she could do nothing to avoid it. Imagine how would you feel if your purpose of living was broken over and over again. People give Baal a lot of crap for turning into a mindless tyrant after losing her friends, when Zhongli and Venti managed to cope with that. Which, by the way, she didn't turn into a tyrant right after that, it was only recently when she began with the decrease, and it was likely under someone's influence. I assume the Fatui. Basically, something else must have happened to finally make her act like this. Anyway, back to the point. Imagine if the freedom Venti lived for was constantly challenged and slowly destroyed in his nation. Don't you think he would take greater measures and actions to prevent that? Or what if suddenly contracts stopped being respected in Liyue? What if the contracts Morax, the god of contracts, was part of, suddenly lost their value and meaning? Don't you think that would be even more devastating to them than losing their close friends? Which is also something terrible, but freedom and contracts respectively was basically a part of their being. It was their purpose and duty to preserve that, and they clearly acted on it, as it has been shown over and over both in the game and in outside sources. So although I cannot personally agree with Baal's actions, I do think they are more reasonable than some people might expect. To her, she is just trying to protect her nation and her people from evil, from change, and from ephemerality, the opposite of eternity. To her, people who challenge that are the evil ones. Those who don't obey her rules to preserve her nation are the enemy. So from her perspective, those that die by her orders or hand are simply criminals that threaten her. It's not the same for us because we live in a different society and we have also seen the story from a different perspective. But it doesn't mean one is necessarily more correct than the other, especially in a different world from ours such as Tevat. Plus Kazuha's friend literally asked her for a duel to see if he could withstand her freaking one-shot killer move, so he kinda literally asked for that. The honor of the samurai and all of that. With this, all I'm trying to say is that remember, this is a nation in a different world and it's inspired by the Edo era of Japan. Personal opinions are fine, but it's hard to completely villainize Baal in this context, after everything we've been shown, and especially after we met our siblings and Dainsleif, which should have made us doubt who the real enemy is and who the good guys really are. We should advance forward with an open mind and see for ourselves what every Archon has to say in their defense, for either now or centuries ago, none of them are innocent, since many have died at their hands, yet they still honor their principles. Anyway, that's all guys, I hope you enjoyed this theory, opinion, I don't know, and I hope it made some things clearer, at least like from my perspective it makes sense, so I hope it also makes sense to you guys. Anyway, if you enjoyed it, like, comment and subscribe, comment whatever you think about it, if you agree or disagree, I don't mind, and see you next time.